$900 shipping.
So I've got a confession to make. I have gas. You probably have gas, otherwise known as the uncurable disease afflicting mostly guitar players, if I'm honest, gear acquisition syndrome. So, like most people, you know, I like to peruse Reverb or eBay, the different spots, and see especially old gear that I once had and see how much it's going for these days. So this is the first in what I'm hoping is a vaguely entertaining series called
Ridiculous Reverb Listings.
This is the John Petrucci edition, as the guy with the, can you see it? I don't even know, the Dream Theater tattoo on my arm. The piece of gear that I used to have that I wish I still had was a old school Picasso John Petrucci. I had the P3, which is the black and white one, way back in the day, and I wish I still had it. So let's get into the ridiculous reverb listings for John Petrucci Ibanez Signature Series guitars. Seems to me there's like gotta be the perfect storm of circumstances to create an item that will get this ridiculous reverb effect. And it's gotta be a piece of equipment that's rare enough where, you know, there's not a ton of them floating around out there, but also mass produced enough where there's still like a market for them. A good example of this is this Ibanez RG7CST. So this guitar is not going to be a good candidate to create a ridiculous reverb listing because there's not enough of them that exist. Yes, it is rare. It's one of, I'm pretty sure, 11 of 12. It is the old West Borland model. Does have the 7-string piezo, however you want to pronounce it, bridge that, you know, most, at least old Ibanez collectors are looking for. But since there's only like 11 or 12 of them in existence, they don't pop up for sale very often. So sure, I could turn around and list the thing for 20 grand, which they do get pretty close to that expensive. That's why I'm doing this video. But this is not one that you're gonna really see because nobody knows that it really exists, right? Because there's only like 11 or 12 of them in existence. And that's what makes the Ibanez Petrucci model the perfect first candidate for this series of videos, because people know who the hell John Petrucci is. There's enough of them still floating around out there that there's actually a couple listings in existence, and because there's that small amount, you get these insane inflated prices. So let's look at candidate number 1, which is gonna be a 1995 Ibanez JPM100 P2. The Pastel model year, probably the least desirable, maybe not as bad as the Camo. They're asking the oh so reasonable price of $5,000 for the guitar with $200 shipping. I'm sure it will be very well packaged indeed. Now for $5,000, what are we getting for our money here? Hopefully a guitar in good condition? Not exactly. Looking at the zoomed out version, it actually looks fairly clean. You know, maybe it's a pretty decent example, but then we start to swipe around and it's not good news. Looks like it's got a pretty bad smack on the lower part of the body there. And this is where, like, if you've got your gas goggles on, you might not have noticed, but you can actually see that chip from the zoomed out. It kind of looks like glare in the picture, but yeah, the chip is visible from the front of the guitar. Surprisingly enough, it looks like the neck pocket doesn't have any of the dreaded NJFCs, or neck joint fracture crack, if you know your old Ibanez guitars. So that's definitely a good sign. But man, taking a look at that zoomed in picture, that chip is pretty bad. It's taken some pretty rough damage, taken quite a shot. So cosmetically to me, I would give the guitar maybe like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's not horrible, but yeah, it's not really well taken care of, and we haven't gotten to the best part yet. And take a look at the back of the headstock. Oh yeah, that's totally a fracture that runs up the length of the neck. So not great. We've got a guitar that's got some pretty big chips for 5,000 bucks and a hairline fracture going up the back of the headstock. And we're not done yet, because let's take a look at that fretwork. Oh yeah, that's not good. That's probably gonna need a fret level. So what happened here with this guitar? Probably took a tumble, cracked the back of the headstock, and then probably is why the frets are dented like that. They don't, to me, look like worn frets from playing. So $5,000 plus $200 shipping. Yeah, we're not off to a great start here. It's not a great example of a P2. This is not a clean guitar. Yeah, I would lower that by quite a few $1,000s. So let's take a look at the next one. Up next, we've got another P2, another one of these Pastel ones, and we're looking at an $8,500 price point with $220 shipping. So, see what I mean? Like these prices are just obscene. But let's take a look at the condition. Let's see if this one's any cleaner. I'll have to say, at least this one looks a hell of a lot cleaner than the other one. There doesn't seem to be any obvious damage where it's been dropped or smacked. Jumping over to the closest view that they've got of the body, it does look exceptionally clean. The back of the neck and the headstock looks clean as well. I don't see any cracks. And the front of the headstock is really clean as well. This one is definitely a clean example, but $8,500? So, like, for perspective, when I bought my P2, and I know this was a long time ago, I bought it in 2004, and it was $1,500, right? So, I know that's 20 years, but that's obscene, right? Like, it's $8,500 is crazy. So, let's continue on with the madness here. $900 shipping. I want to go check it out. What does this say? Excellent guitar, very rare. Now we got a P4 coming in, probably the other least desirable from this generation.
What the f*** is this piece of shit?
And this one, they're looking for $9,000 with $900 shipping. There's a huge red flag going off here. It's gloss. They're advertising it as gloss. The Camo ones were all a matte finish. That means somebody somewhere along the line modified this guitar, which you would think would decrease the value, but in this case, the thing's worth $9 grand for sure. Now, my favorite part about this listing is the description. Very short, to the point, excellent guitar, very rare. Wow. No other info beyond that, just a very rare gloss P4 Camo, which shouldn't be gloss. Moving on. Now we're starting to cook a little bit. Man, I'm really having trouble keeping it together here. These prices start to get really funny. We got a P1. This to me is probably like the second most desirable of the Petrucci models. It's the OG Picasso. It's missing the multicolored DiMarzio pickups. So in my mind, this is kind of like number 2, although we're gonna get to what maybe you could put in number 2. It depends on your opinion about it, but this price is hilarious. $12,135, but you see, this is a bargain. It's been marked down $2,427. You just can't go wrong. And with shipping clocking it at $300, like, woo, this is solid steal. Let's take a look at the condition of this guy. Just looking at that picture zoomed out, it looks vaguely clean, but there's kind of a red flag. There's no strings on this guitar. Checking out the back of the headstock, that's where this one is signed by both Petrucci and Portnoy. That's pretty cool, but that really looks like a crack on the back of the neck to me. Another one of these hairline ones running up the neck. Taking a look at the face of this guitar, you can start to see this thing is in a rough shape. It just looks dirty. We got a chip on the lower horn, but there's something weird going on by the neck. And man, those frets are disgusting. The white binding is really yellowed. There's a big dent into the white binding. This thing has not been taken care of. And then, woo, damn, Daniel. That bridge is in a rough state. Oh my God, what even happened there? Looks like it got dropped or really heavily corroded, man. Like, those saddles straight up need to be replaced. And the blocks inside look rusted. This thing is rough. Not a good example of a P1. I mean, it's a P1. That's pretty cool. I would definitely rock a P1, but man, it's not a good example. And yet, another P2 asking for the low price of $20,000. $50 shipping though, so not too bad on the shipping price. They're not gouging you there at least. This one's another P2. It's so funny to me, there's a lot of these P2s out there right now. The Pastel graphic, second to worst model run. I'll admit it looks pretty clean. You look at the body, I'm not seeing really any damage at all on the body. Hardware looks relatively clean as well. Front of the headstock looks pretty nice, but yeah, there's a teeny little chip at the very top. Not the worst damage in the world. Back of the headstock looks great as well, right? We got no damage, no crack here. And now, damn, did we save the best one for last. $75,000 for a John Petrucci 90th anniversary. Actually, I stand corrected, $75,845 with the oh-so-reasonable $624 in shipping. What a bargain. This guitar is pretty freaking clean, and it's up there with the P1 with the multicolored pickups that this one has in it as being the most desirable. This one has actually been my, like, unicorn model that I wanted to own for, like, the longest time. They're exceptionally rare, it's a gorgeous guitar, and this one's like a pretty clean example of it as well. It's been well taken care of. Now, I don't think you can possibly justify $75,000, even being a huge John Petrucci fan, but at least this one has like a littlest shred of cred for that ridiculous price. Apparently, this is the one that was actually owned and recorded on by John himself. You got a picture of John playing with Jordan Rudess with what I assume is the LTE1 session, which is pretty freaking cool. You got a certificate of authenticity, as well as some other pictures and blurbs and things like that. So at least this one has some connection to rock and roll history. At the very bottom, it claims that he'll even donate 5% to a charity that John himself could choose. So that just about does it. I think that'll wrap up our John Petrucci Ridiculous Reverb Listings episode. Yeah, no, I don't think any of these guitars obviously are worth any of the prices. I mean, even the cheapest one, $5,000 or whatever it was, is way too much, especially for a guitar in that condition. I think a reasonable price for one of these is maybe like $3 grand, $3,500. That, at least to me, is like in the realm of reasonable for what it is, but hey, I get it. It's capitalism at the end of the day. Something that is only worth what someone is willing to pay. And that's the other thing that makes me laugh. I've actually been watching all of these guitars, or at least most of them, for well over a year. That was one of those, again, gas things. I'm poking around online like, hey, how much would a P3 be? You know, just looking around and see what's out there, and like, they're not selling. So that's really the core of my argument here as well. What makes it so funny is that nobody's paying even $8,000 for one of these, or even $5,000 for one of these guitars, right? It's, at the end of the day, it's just a bolt-on 24 fret Ibanez guitar. I mean, they're well made, but I don't even know if I would say it's J custom levels. Nickel frets, so they're gonna wear. It's not like it's stainless steel. I mean, cool collector's item and all, but man, yeah, 5, 7, 10. I mean, obviously $75,000. Even if it is the one that John played. I mean, Petrucci himself is famously not a collector. Like, he doesn't get attached to instruments the way like Steve Vai does, right? Like, you know, so like Evo, okay, you know, like that's a guitar I could see going for some big money, because it's a guitar that Steve himself is very connected to, or Flo, or all of his different ones that he like gives little nicknames and he gets connected to. Petrucci famously is not a collector. He doesn't care. To him, it's just a tool, which at the end of the day really is all of this stuff is, right? It just wants a new one. Give me a new one and whatever, you know. So it's just kind of funny, you know, $75,000. That's hilarious. So hopefully you enjoyed the vibe. I'm trying something new here with these. I'm going to maybe do 10, 15 of these videos, see how they do, and, you know, consider giving the channel a like and a sub. Here, my name is Rob. My channel is A Minor Error. I am a progressive metal guitar player, and I release my own music here, as well as do product reviews, free guitar lessons, all that good stuff. So yeah, hopefully consider giving the channel a sub. I'd greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Woo!